The number one best way to make sure that you find a job in 2026 is using LinkedIn, is posting and creating content and engaging with other people. The whole recruitment marketplace has changed. The whole face of it has changed. What makes a difference is being seen and creating visibility on LinkedIn. If you're not doing that, you're just not in the game anymore. Okay, so we're coming live for some coffee and questions with myself, Nigel GJ. We're trying to do a little bit of a different format here for everybody, and what it's going to be about is really trying to just answer questions. I'm just going to spend some time each week just banging out questions that we have. We've got stuff online coming on right now. Great to see you all. So it's good to see where it is. Probably good just to get some initial ones. I've got one here from Mike who said, why does job hunting feel harder now than it does 5 years ago? It does. In fact, we've just done it. We did a poll recently. It's got over 600 votes where I asked specifically that question. Might be why you're asking the question. I don't know. But, and 95% of people have come back and said that it feels harder than 5 years ago. And it's because the whole recruitment marketplace has changed. The whole face of it has changed. It's not the same as it was, where 15, 20 years ago, what you were doing was ending up saying, look, how do I get a job? I go and look in the newspapers, online, or whatever it might be, and I'll just apply with my CV, and you send as many as you can on there, and then sooner or later, by weighted numbers, you get hired. That is not happening anymore. It's just not working. So it has completely changed now, because people are still feeding into that same way of doing things. But if you carry on doing that, you're going to be out of work, as many people are finding, for months, if not years. And that's the issue. And that's really what all of this is about, all the work that I've been doing here, which is about trying to help educate people to say, the marketplace has completely changed. There is a different way for it. And that's what we can do to really try and change it, which sort of follows up. I've got another question here. So should I still be applying for jobs online at all? Well, there's the big question. I think that if I was looking for a job right now, I mean, I'm still going to apply for some jobs, but applying for jobs online is, you are playing the lottery. You're just going to be there, and you're going to end up finding that yourself could be amongst thousands of other people. You're not going to be seen. The number one best way to make sure that you find a job in 2026 is using LinkedIn, is posting and creating content and engaging with other people. If you're not doing that, you are invisible. Your chances of success in the job market are practically nil. It's a real struggle out there. And don't take my word for it. Just go online for any minute and go and speak to all the thousands of people who are looking for jobs and all saying the same thing. And then you've got all of those people out there giving advice that worked 15, 20 years ago to say you need to tweak your CV, you've got to take your hobbies off your CV, you've got to have your job, no more than 3 jobs on your CV, keep it under 2 pages, over 5 pages, 1 page. None of that makes any difference. Absolutely none of it. What makes a difference is being seen and creating visibility on LinkedIn. If you're not doing that, you're just not in the game anymore. And that's part of the issue. That's the thing that people really need to change. I appreciate that. I think that is, for most people, is probably the most difficult thing that you have to face, because you can sort of hide behind your screen, create your CV, put that online and just apply, and it feels like you're doing something productive. But the reality is that, in actual fact, by doing all of that, you're just playing the lottery. At best, you're going to be seen by one person, that recruiter who's working on that particular job. By getting onto LinkedIn with its 1.2 billion people around the world, your visibility can explode. Provided that you've worked out who your target audience is and you're engaging with the right people, then absolutely, that's the way to do it. So, look, I know it's not easy, but 100% getting onto LinkedIn is the way to do that in 2026. What actually gets a CV shortlisted in the first 10 seconds? Luck. That's what happens there with that. I think 100% is luck. If everything's aligned and you just happen to have applied for it and you get shortlisted in the first 10 seconds, is luck. I can't keep on reiterating it enough. I think you're playing a bit of a lottery by just having an application only strategy. It's there are tools out there that have been created. It's gone through that phase of low adoption and everything. We're now into the adoption phase of the first thing that someone will do, a recruiter will do when they get your CV. They're probably not going to just do it in the first 10 seconds, because the first thing they'll do is go onto LinkedIn and have a look at it. Have a look at your profile. And if your profile is saying the right things, then you're going to be shortlisted really quickly. And that's part of it. What we're advocating here is by saying, well, look, how do we get more traffic in to look at your LinkedIn profile? If you can get the traffic to your LinkedIn profile, then 100% you're going to have a massive advantage over everybody else. So, okay, let's have a look through here. Wow, thank you so much. There are a lot of questions now. I'm going to have to filter through them all. Why does LinkedIn matter more than your CV now? There's at least 1.2 billion reasons why LinkedIn matters more than your CV now. That is the game. That's the way that everything's changing and moving to it. LinkedIn is a monopoly in its space. There's basically no one else there that does it. Don't think of it as a job board. It's not. In fact, everybody in LinkedIn will all tell you, we're not a job board, we're a professional networking site. That's what you should be doing to make sure that it works, is by targeting your audience, using it as a social networking site, but for professionals. So treat it like that. And the reason why it matters more is because if you've fully optimized your profile and people can see the value that you bring in your profile really quickly, then the next thing you need to do is treat it as a landing page. So your profile becomes a landing page. You then need to get as many eyes on it as possible, but as many eyes in the target market that you're looking for. And that's what the creating content and engaging is all about, is about getting eyes onto your profile. So I think that's really, really, really useful. Is LinkedIn, it's actually a related question, is LinkedIn really a search engine for recruiters? 100%. 100%. It is. Recruiters use, one of the main tools they use is LinkedIn Recruiter, which is a paid for tool which they use to basically use as a search engine all of the 1.2 billion people that are on it. And they'll filter it based on what they're looking for the type of role, the location, the skills that you have, etc. And that's why it's so important to make sure that all of those keywords, what you're doing, you can demonstrate your value, is in your profile, because if it's not there, you're not going to be found by these recruiters. By the way, the most important thing for recruiters to find you is making sure that you've got your open to work on. Now, I don't mean the green banner, because there's two types of open to works that are there. One is the green banner that you have on your profile. The other one is what I call that sort of secret one, which is the one that recruiters only can see. And the reason why that's so important is when they're using it to search as a search engine into LinkedIn, they will invariably put, the first thing they'll put as a filter will be whether just show me the people who are open to work. That's all. So that's why it's super important to do that as well. Okay, so look, let's have a little looking through here. We've got there's some interesting ones here that have come through. Are ghost jobs actually real? That's a fab question. Is it I love the fact that everybody here is asking the controversial questions, and it's the things that get talked about a lot on LinkedIn. Ghost jobs are real, but they're perhaps not necessarily real for the reason that you think. So what everybody tends to start saying on the content that you will see, not just on LinkedIn, in fact, it's in the mainstream media as well, is that ghost jobs come up because the companies are looking to collect people's data and collect CVs. They're not doing that because, as we just talked about, LinkedIn Recruiter has 1.2 billion people there. They can find them. It's not, finding the people and collecting CVs. You don't need to do that. Invariably, the ghost jobs actually happen. Is the most common one is where a recruiter has just simply forgotten to unpost them. So what ends up happening is in their ATS, they've closed it down, but it's not connected to LinkedIn. They've left the date open, and it's just sat there. And it can be for all these different jobs, but they just sit there for ages and ages and ages, gathering more and more CVs. So those are some of the job boards also scrape LinkedIn and other ones in order to get more jobs for themselves. And often they will put them up there as if it looks like they're real, but the job has just been closed down ages ago. So invariably what it is just down to a glitch or the fact the recruiter's just forgotten to take them down, which is super, super frustrating. The other issue that you have, now whether you call it a ghost job or not, maybe, is when you have the job has been more or less filled. So in other words, you've got to the point where you're at final interview with candidates, but quite often they're not sure whether the candidate's going to accept and what's going to happen. They still keep taking applications, which is why it's so important when you're looking at these jobs. And if you just have an application only strategy and you're applying for a job and you can see invariably on those jobs how many people have actually applied, and you see that it's like, as I've seen once, 6,000 people, why on earth would you want to join in with that? What are your chances there? Your chances of getting the job is then 6,000 to 1, even if they have 10 people that they're going to interview. It's still another 600 odd to 1 that you're even going to get an interview. I mean, the odds are so crazy, if you even get seen at all. So look, I appreciate this. There's so many different ways that you can answer these. We're going to be running these sessions, as I say, look, every week now. We're going to try and add this in. We're going to come out on as many different channels as we can do. So both in LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok. We're going to try and go to as many as we can do. And we'll go live and we'll run them live, and we're going to get, as we have here, as questions that come through, we'll just answer all of those doing it. We're going to do them more and more. I think it's really important. And the reason why I wanted to set these up is because so many people have asked all these questions all the time. They want to do it as much as possible. So look, absolutely, we want to do that. On top of that, we're also going to be running in the Get Hired group as well. If you've not joined, please do. We'll put some links in the comments for it. Please come and join that. That is a community that we've put together, the Get Hired group, where we answer this and we go live in the group as well. We have different questions and answers for it, specific areas there where you are trying to find a job, you have support from other people. It's a great place to connect and really understand. That's all we've got time for this week, but look, great to see you all. Take it easy, enjoy, and I'll catch you next time.